how to multiply monomials by polynomials. The goal of this tutorial is to be able to answer questions like you see on the screen, and we are going to do some more challenging ones at the end also. At the end we'll try multiplying the monomial 5x by this large polynomial and the monomial 4y by this polynomial. Okay, this tutorial can be found on our website, mathwarehouse.com/polynomial, where you'll find a bunch of other goodies, free worksheets with answer keys, and many other practice problems worked out step by step. Okay, so to multiply a monomial by a polynomial, let's first make sure we're clear on what these words mean. As you can see, the only thing that really differs is the beginning of the word mon versus poly, and you might be familiar with the idea of monotonous, which means it sounds like one tone. Mon means one, poly means many, right? And all that a monomial is an expression with one term. These are all monomials. 3 is a monomial, 5x is a monomial, and on the other slide, 5x and 4y are monomials. On the other hand, polynomials are expressions with many terms, like x plus 2, x plus 3 on the bottom, or here are some larger polynomials. This polynomial has 3 terms. And the only other thing to keep in mind with a polynomial is this here is actually not considered a polynomial because you can simplify it to one term, right? This is actually not a polynomial. So what makes something a polynomial is the fact that it's many terms that cannot be simplified, like x plus 2 or x plus 3. These cannot be simplified further, and they are many terms. Okay, so to multiply monomials by polynomials, it's actually very straightforward. It's really just applying the distributive property. So you multiply the monomial by the first term in the polynomial, which is 3 times x, and you distribute the 3 to the other term of the polynomial, or 3 times 2. So our final answer is 3x plus 6. That's it. Just multiply the monomial and simplify if you need to. Right? So let's do the same thing. Right? Step 1 is to distribute 5x times x plus 3 plus 5x times 3. And then the only other step is to simplify. X times x is x squared, and 5x times 3 is 15x. Okay, so quick recap. This is a 2-step process. Step 1 is to distribute the monomial to each term in the polynomial. And then step 2 is to just simplify. Alright, let's look at some slightly more complicated problems. Let's multiply the monomial 5x by this polynomial, and first step, if you recall, is to distribute. So we're going to multiply 5x times 3x squared, 5x times 2x, and then 5x times 7. Right? And do you remember step 2? Hopefully you recall that is to simplify. 5x times 3x squared is 15x cubed, plus 5x times 2x is 10x squared, plus 35x. Now, if you were confused about how we went from here to there, you need to review the laws of exponents. All right, that's an old lesson you should be familiar with by now. If not, that's another tutorial for another time. Okay, let's try at least one more. Let's distribute 4y times 3x squared, 4y times 2xy, and then 4y times 7y. Okay, and if you remember, the last thing that we do is now simplify using the laws of exponents. So 4 times 3 is 12. X squared y, right? You can't do anything with the x squared and the y. Plus 4 times 2 is 8. We have y times y, or y squared x, plus 4 times 7 is 28 y squared. Alright, that's it for multiplying monomials by polynomials. It's pretty straightforward. It's really just a distributive property, and at the end, just double check to make sure you've simplified everything. Alright, so if you would like more practice problems worked out step by step on this topic, visit mathwarehouse.com/polynomial. Like I said, there's also a free worksheet with an answer key there. Thanks a lot.